Hey, good morning, everyone. How's it going today? Coach Alvarez here, back at you with another episode, Coffee with Coach. Hope you're up, doing well, got the mind in the right place. But if not, as always, let's bring those mental vitamins to you so you can put your mind in the right place so you can have a great day. So, gonna kind of go into prioritizing your jiu-jitsu a little bit, kind of leading off of yesterday's topic of, talking to some students about, the feeling of sucking at jiu-jitsu, like you're no good at jiu-jitsu, right? And yesterday, just to recap, if you didn't catch the video, a lot of times, I'll meet students that have done very, very well in other aspects of their life, really smart in school. School came easy to them. Then they find jiu-jitsu and then they find themselves struggling and then they want to quit. Or they're really good athletes in some other sport, some other thing that they've done, prior to jiu-jitsu, thinking that it's just going to transfer right over into the mat. And, they find out that it's a lot harder than what it is. And then, the doubts come in and then you want to quit. Okay. Now that's some individuals. All right. Now I know when I started, I wrestled in high school. So wrestling was tough. Wrestling was really tough. I think wrestling is harder than jiu-jitsu, really, because there's just ways that you can rest and kind of, do things in jiu-jitsu that you just can't rest in wrestling, right? And I feel like the practices were harder in wrestling or whatnot. But when I found jiu-jitsu, it just really intrigued me, like how tough it was and, how awesome it was. So like instead of pushing me away when things got tough, I actually gravitated more to it because of the challenges that it brings to you. Okay, and I guess that's where some people, just recapping off of yesterday, struggle the most is the challenges. It's very, very challenging, more mentally than it is physically. It's very physically challenging and demanding. But when you feel like you are not good at something because you're having a bad day on the mat, we have the reference of, some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail, some days you're the board, or you're just taking L's everywhere, right? And then you just want to just give up and quit. So that's quite a few individuals that I've met over the years. Now you got to think about it that I've been training jiu-jitsu for well over 20 years. I started somewhere in the mid 90s, back Hoist Gracie days, learning off VHS tapes, and I've just been on this ride ever since, where I've never taken a break except for some injuries, one surgery, separated shoulder, that kind of thing, and some other nagging injuries. But besides that, never had the tendency to like, what, this is a little too hard for me. I really wasn't thinking it was going to be this tough. I'm going to check out and go do something else, right? So when I prioritized and realized how important jiu-jitsu was to me, and I put it in the forefront of my life to where, I made it a thing that everyone had to know about, my friends and family, which back then, a lot of people know about jiu-jitsu now, right? But a lot of people back then when I started, it was, you're talking mid 90s, right? Late 90s. It's just kind of hitting the scene. A lot of people didn't know what jiu-jitsu was. They still think, to this day, some people still think it's karate, which is not. And, they make the hand gestures. You do that jiu-jitsu stuff. And it's like, no, that's not what we do, man. We don't, you just put your hands down. We don't do our motions like that, right? So it's just always funny when you meet people like that. But people know what jiu-jitsu is now, right? And so when I started and I was prioritizing my jiu-jitsu in my life, people were just tripping out because it's like, it's this whack martial art. Like you just see stuff on TV and it's like, people didn't really take it serious. So it was more of a struggle than I would say some people now. It's more mainstream. It's on ESPN apps. It's on the news, it's everywhere. It's more mainstream and more people know about jiu-jitsu than they did a long time ago. So if you say jiu-jitsu now, more people can relate to you than when I started. So anyways, I've shared these stories before. I want to share them again just because I want to make it clear to certain individuals out there that are struggling with their jiu-jitsu and they don't feel like they're getting any better. Again, that feeling's always going to be there at some point. You're going to have some good days and some bad days. It doesn't matter what belt you get, 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years in, you're going to feel like, man, what is happening to my jiu-jitsu, that kind of thing. But a lot of students that I meet, I'm the beginning of 2021, we'll have like 13 years in the business. So I've been a coach, going on 13 years here pretty soon. So I've met thousands of individuals, okay, thousands. And I've met a lot of people that have their priorities with jiu-jitsu in order, where they put their jiu-jitsu at, because I see them all the time, all right? Then I have those other individuals where I don't see them on a routine basis, and so they haven't prioritized their jiu-jitsu yet. They like it, they're intrigued by it, and it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, I do it, but it isn't really like something that's all that important to me. So those individuals will always struggle because it's just not something that's at the top of the list. So the other day, I asked some students in the 1030 class, like, hey, where would you put jiu-jitsu at in your life? And some of them said family, work, then jiu-jitsu. Okay, that was most of them. Then some of them was work, then family, then jiu-jitsu. And they said work first because they said I can't provide for my family without my work. Okay, which makes total sense. Some people will be like, family should be first, but he's right. In my opinion, I agree with him because you can't provide for your family if you're not making the money that you're making in the work. So work is obviously a priority, right? You can't do things without having the money right. It becomes very stressful, creates a lot of stress on relationships and families and stuff like that. So, and the list went on. That's what pretty much, it was probably 10 or so people left in class. Some people left early. But when I asked this question, that's pretty much the thing. And those individuals, I see them all the time. So I kind of expected that, where family, work, jiu-jitsu, or work, family, then jiu-jitsu. I mean, it's in the top 3, okay? And then I asked some of the, later on that night class, 7 p.m. class, I asked the same thing to some of my students. High ranks, brown belts, some purple belts, some white belts, that kind of thing. And it's pretty much the same answers. Jiu-jitsu is definitely at the top of the list. And why is that? It's because of what it provides for you physically and mentally. Like, it's a great stress reliever. It keeps you in shape, puts you around good people. It constantly makes you think. You're always problem solving, so you're always thinking of how to figure out how to either attack with some techniques or get away from some and whatever. So it is something that should be at the top of your list. If it's not there already, you need to make it there. So if you do not want to, suck at jiu-jitsu, or feel like you suck at jiu-jitsu, it should definitely be at the top of your list somewhere, somehow in the top 3, all right? And I kind of got away from it for a moment, but what I was getting to earlier was when I was starting, like I said, I've shared this before, my parents didn't understand jiu-jitsu and why I loved it so much and that kind of thing. So there was always some beef there, right? I'd always get talked about behind my back because, I wouldn't come over for dinner. I wouldn't come over for certain things because when it was time for me to train, so my days were Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, okay? I had 4 days to train jiu-jitsu back then. My instructor at that time, we didn't have a Sunday training and there was no Friday classes and there was only a few morning classes, I think. So I only had a few days to choose from. I didn't have 7 days. So we're open 7 days a week. But, so I had to pick my days, and then on the off days, and obviously it's movie night or, sit at the table, have dinner with the family, that kind of thing or whatever. But if you were to call on me on a day that I was going to jiu-jitsu class, I would basically just tell you I can't do it. If you really needed help with something, it was an emergency, that'd be different. But if it was just like, hey, you want to go out to eat, or hey, you want to come over to eat, you want to go check out a movie, or hey, I don't know, something, whatever. You need to let me know ahead of time to where I I need to put it in my schedule, so to speak, because nothing was going to stop me from my training. And I have always been like that. And that's obviously where I've gotten to today, where I'm a 3rd-degree black belt. You know, I'm 1 year away from my 4th degree, which most people will never get to because they just don't have jiu-jitsu as a priority. And some people will make excuses as to why it's not a priority. And to me, the most reason why those excuses come about is because it's hard. It's very, very hard. It is a very fun, you know, kind of giving martial art, what it gives you back, but it is very tough. So some people that I've met over the years have made a lot of excuses as to why their priorities shift with jiu-jitsu and why they don't keep it in their lives. And at some point or another, they will want to come back to it, but they won't because of how hard they know how hard it's going to be when they do come back. Is they just, the soreness and just all the struggles that you already went through, now you got to go through them again. It's just, so some people just don't come back. Some do. Like I literally just had a student come back after taking 4 years off or 4.5 years off. And, you know, they're slowly getting readjusted to the training and the conditioning and all that stuff that we're doing. So this is just, I think, a really major helpful tip that if you're doing jiu-jitsu, you need to prioritize that in your top 3 somewhere, or top 4, without a doubt, you know, because if not, like I was saying last night, it's not something like, let's say someone called me up today, you know, or a friend or whatever, hey coach, you know, you want to go bowling? You know, Friday evening, Saturday night, you can go bowling. Okay, I mean, I bowled back in the day for many, many years. I was actually really good at it, you know, but you know, it's fun, right? You're gonna grab a ball, we're gonna roll it down the lanes, and there's really no pressure. You're having fun, you're laughing because it's in the gutter or whatever, you know, cool. Or let's go play some pool. I shoot pool all the time, okay? It'll come back to me a little bit. We get back on the pool table. Really no pressure. We can put a little something on it, and they'll make it interesting. But there's really nothing, there's nothing attacking me. I'm just playing pool. And the list goes on, man. Let's just leave it the way it is. Jiu-jitsu, on the other hand, someone's attacking you. Someone's imposing their will on you. Someone's trying to dominate you. Someone's trying to tap you out, choke you, arm lock you, foot lock you, like whatever. And that's where I seen the most people just be like, just break and be like, I can't take this anymore. I don't want to do it because I don't like that feeling. And it's just a feeling to where you just need to get over that and embrace that, like I was talking about yesterday. The more you embrace that feeling and accept that feeling and welcome it, then the easier it gets. But for sure, without a doubt, the students that I've seen struggle the most are the ones that are kind of, excuse me, like come and go. They're never really, I have those students, I see them every day, or I know what days they're coming in, like clockwork. They are there every day. And some of you guys here are watching are my students, and they're there every single day. I mean, I don't know how they do it, but they get it done. And they got families and they got kids, and they make it happen and they make it work. And the results speak for themselves. The more you show up, the more work you put in, the better you get. The less you show up, the more you make excuses, the more you're going to feel like you suck. And that's just what it comes down to. So once you make it a priority and you put it in your top 3 or 4 in your life, and you just make it, hey, look, these are the days that I train. Okay, this is my schedule. Family and friends know. Don't bother me on these evenings or these mornings or whatever, because this is a time where I need for me, my self-care, my self-oxygen. You know, I put my oxygen mask on so I can take care of my health and my mind and my body so that I can go ahead and help more people around me because I feel good about myself. I'm doing something good for myself. Then the better you will get, the faster you will get. And the easier it gets. I mean, it's always going to be tough, like I said, but it will get easier the more you show up and you make it a priority. Again, you don't have to show up every single day. That's not the norm for some people to show up every day. But you get 2 to 3 classes in a week and you're consistent with that, great things happen. You know, I was listening to this video again, the Dabo Sweeney video, and he was playing, I forgot what team. But anyways, he's rebuilding. He's the head coach at Clemson. The first couple years were a little rough. And then anyways, if they finally make it to the national championship, they get the goal and they lose, right? So it's bittersweet kind of thing. You get to where you want to, but then you come up short. Well, the next year, if I remember correctly, they do win it. And the one guy interviewed him, and he's like, how do you make that something like that happen? And one of the things that he said was consistency. Like you gotta show up. You gotta come in and you gotta put the work in. But it's consistent work over time, over years. Okay, where we live in this world of like you can just pick up your phone and just get information. Or you can go like literally before I hopped on this thing, I went to Amazon and ordered some more MCT powder and some beetroot powder and all this other stuff to have delivered to my home, and you can have it delivered like in one day or just take the free shipping and it'll be next week, right? So we live in that kind of world, but jiu-jitsu is not like that. So it's one of the last things left in this world where you actually got to work hard at something and go through this fire, be forced through the fire kind of thing, where if you just don't show up, you have no consistency and it's not a priority in your life, you will always struggle. Okay, so my advice to you as someone that's been training, so you can be like, well, why should I listen to you? For one, I've been training for well over 20 years, 3rd degree black belt, never taken any time off. I mean, I just been in this game since, like I said, mid to late 90s. So I've been around for a very, very long time. I've seen so many people come and go. Okay, even at the time when I was going through white, blue, purple, brown, and black at the academy where I was training at, a lot of people came and a lot of people went. And there's very, very few individuals that I know that made it to the point where I made it to. And most of the time when I see certain individuals that quit jiu-jitsu, they're not really doing all that well, they're just not, their health isn't all that great. Maybe they're doing great in their job, they're making good money, but their health is very poor, and they just don't look all that great. It's just what it is. So jiu-jitsu, for sure, without a doubt, will give you so many great things and benefits. You just got to stick it out and you got to see it through and you got to prioritize it and put it at the top of your list to where absolutely nothing. Like for me, again, my mom would invite me over for dinner. Sorry, Mom, can't do it. It's jiu-jitsu night, can't do it. And that's where like I'd get talked about. Oh, you're going to choose jiu-jitsu over your mom. You're going to choose jiu-jitsu over having dinner with your family. You're going to choose jiu-jitsu. Yes. The answer is yes. Absolutely. Going to do it. See ya. I'll catch you on the next one. So, that's it. I'd get, just those things, where it's like, why do you got to go? Why can't we just watch a movie? Why can't we, I don't know, just all the lamest things that are going to try to pull you away from that. I just didn't let it happen, and one of the main reasons why is because I let other things pull me away from other things in life. And I was like, you know what, after a while, you just want to see like what will happen if I actually just like see something through. Okay. If I just don't let other people or other things just, pull me away from the thing that I really want to do, what will happen? And that was the mindset. And so now I sit in front of you today with my academy, like I said, going on 13 years, achieved so many titles and whatever in jiu-jitsu, helped so many people lose weight, handle bullies, whatever the case may be. I've done so many great things with jiu-jitsu because I saw it through. But what if I would have quit like I did everything else and let other things come in my way like everything else? I wouldn't be doing these videos for one, and most of you watching that do know me wouldn't know me, and I wouldn't know all the great students that I have on my mat. I wouldn't know you. I'd be just a regular Joe Blow working at I'm not disrespecting anyone at General Motors. I'm not. Don't get this twisted. But point being is, I wouldn't just be one of those guys that just get up, go to work, like just do whatever people do after work, which is not much, and then go to sleep, and then repeat the cycle every single day and not really do much. Okay, my goal was like I want to change things. I want to be different. And this jiu-jitsu thing has really helped me do that again. So like I said, I hated General Motors. If you love General Motors and you love working there, then more power to you. I'm happy for you. But I couldn't stand it. I wasn't doing anything. Yeah, I was providing for my family. I had great insurance. I was making good money. Family was doing great, but I wasn't happy with it. And I wasn't really doing anything for anyone else. You know what I mean? Like anyone can really just get a job and go work and put food on the table for their family. It's really not that hard to do. Actually, you should do it. It's just like a thing that you should do. But what I'm giving to my family now, you know, the mindset and the way that I think and what I'm able to give my family now, I would not be able to give them without that, what I'm giving to them now without jiu-jitsu. It's just, there's just no question, no doubt about it. There's no argument. It's just whatever. Life is definitely better because I'm doing jiu-jitsu and how I've changed as a person and the mindset that I've, you know, that I have because of jiu-jitsu. So it is definitely something that if you start it, you should never quit it. And if you haven't started it yet and you're thinking about it, you should, regardless of where you're at. But at some point, the sooner the better, once you make it a priority, you know, life just becomes a lot better, man. You're making a lot less mistakes in life. You're making better choices. You're around better people. You're thinking better. Your head's more clear. You're taking care of your body more. And man, the list goes on. We'll be here all day with all the great benefits of it. So it is what it is. Some people that see this and doesn't have like quit already or haven't done it yet, again, you just couldn't handle the struggle of the day-to-day battles of really just kind of dealing with those wins and losses. And once you get a hold of battling with wins and losses, you know, life becomes much easier anyways, because no matter what you do, you're going to take wins and losses. I'll go back to the Dabo Sweeney thing again, watching the video, and, you know, these guys won a national championship, then they get there again, they lose it, and they win it again, and it's just, that's how life works. You're going to just go back and forth with these disappointments, these great victories, these moments of joy and happiness, and then, you know, life hits you and whatever happens, and now you're down and out. You got to get back up, and it's that constant fight, constant battle. But I understand that so much easier now and better now because of jiu-jitsu. I think without jiu-jitsu, I'd probably be in a way different mindset, way different place. It's not think, I know. So anyways, prioritize your jiu-jitsu. Make it a point to put it in the top 3 or 4 in your life, and life becomes a lot better, and your jiu-jitsu becomes a lot better. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. I got to get some other things done. I got to get this 3-mile run in and then get up to jiu-jitsu class and then just do all the other stuff that I normally do throughout the day. All right, have a great one, and we'll catch you on the next one. We'll see you.